Great tips by Jules, and we have some great tips for you by one of the best when it comes to building, designing, and renovating. Many of you do full renovations, like we'll call it kind of an extreme makeover. You're probably removing some of those old wooden windows. Our next guest is going to tell you maybe that's not the right idea. We're joined by Paul Denis of Denis Builds, Designs, and Renovations. Welcome back to the show. It's great to have you here. Been a few years, and this is true. I think a lot of people love those old wooden windows, but when they go to do a major renovation, oftentimes even perhaps the person that's doing it, the reno for them, says, you know what, you've got to replace these. You're saying that might not be the best option.
No, most of the energy efficiency on an old window is where we lose the energy is through air loss.
Right.
And so if we weather strip, we can be within the same, about 95% of a brand new energy efficient window. So
you're saying that the air loss is happening around the perimeter of the actual window. So what do you do to basically minimize that?
Well, we usually use like a vinyl V-group weather stripping, and we can get almost an airtight seal with that. It's very adjustable and very easy to manipulate.
So that's it.
That's it. That's
Seems
it. That's
pretty
all.
Simple.
Right, but there are other reasons why you say that people should be keeping those wooden windows. What are some of the other benefits?
Well, the greenest window that is around is the one that's already built, and now in the last 7 years we've had new technology to actually. I think the worst thing about old windows is it got that built-up ucky paint on it.
Yeah.
Okay, and so now we can take that sash, put it in a steam box for 5 hours, and then let it dry out for 24. And we use a special hollow scraper that we can vacuum as we scrape up the lead-based paint, and then we get right back down to the brand new wood. And this wood is special wood because this wood has come from a 100-year-old forest, and that 100-year-old forest has been so densely packed with its growth rings, it's almost a rot-proof wood. So we're also saving an ancient forest at the same time.
Right.
And now we basically are giving an extreme makeover to our sash by stripping it down to the bare wood, applying a primer. And the other reason that people really love old heritage windows is something called non-Pilkington glass. This is what we call not absolute flat glass. We used to call it imperfect glass. It has this little shimmer to it.
Okay.
Right.
A lot of people value that, and now we still can get that heritage glass, but they charge twice as much for it because it's a labor-intensive process.
Right.
Paul, tell us about vinyl windows. So what's the difference between the old wooden window and the newer windows that people are putting in? What are some of these maybe drawbacks?
Drawbacks? Another point a lot of people like about heritage windows is the technology behind it. It lasts 100 years. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a thermal pane or a window manufacturer that may last at 20 years.
Okay.
That's a good point, because people want that warranty, but if that company's not around, then what do you do?
It's a very simple technology, and it's easy repairable too. So we always we still have a company from 1886 making a spring-loaded balance today. It's called the Pullman Company. It's down in New York.
And so that's basically a great analogy. You have another analogy actually about technology. You're comparing a wooden window to a new vinyl window. You have another analogy that was really funny.
Funny, yeah. It's like when you drop your cell phone, you lost the cell phone. But if you drop your hammer, you still have your hammer.
I love it.
Keep it simple.
Right.
Paul, what about regular maintenance? Let's say somebody has these older windows. To get the most out of them over the lifetime of them, is there a yearly regular maintenance you should be doing?
If we go down to the bare wood and we strip and put a brand new primer on it and a brand new top coat, you shouldn't have to top coat, maybe you have to top coat the storm maybe in about 15 to 20 years, but the other ones you may not ever have to because they're protected by the storm. The other issue with the storms, a lot of people say I have to change my screens and then I have to change my
and you got to bring out the ladder. I got to climb up the ladder and take everything out every single year.
Here's a traditional looking storm.
Right.
Okay, but we have these inserts on the back. So you can actually change the glass insert to a screen insert without even having a gap on a ladder. You do it from inside and drop the windows, and it's very easy to remove just by removing these little turnbuckles.
And you guys even put numbers on them,
so
that you know which one's which.
Which one's in which where.
Right. The other question is, a lot of times when you're looking for windows, there's a discussion about double glazed glass, triple glazed glass, argon gas, you know, whatever kind of other E gas. What about those types of technology? Is it important to have that?
On this storm, we have actually a low E coating on the glass, so that'll benefit you the most. When you go to double glazing, that's where you're going to get another 80% of the energy.
2 panes of glass.
2 panes of glass.
Okay.
When you go to triple glaze, not so much, but what you do gain is a very sound resistant window.
So it's not so efficient for retaining heat.
Sound resistant in the sense that we don't hear sound from outside. So if you have an airplane that goes by, you won't hear it as much.
Okay.
Paul, you had mentioned it as well a little bit earlier on, the fact that you've got these windows for a long time. How long exactly would an old wooden window last? You mentioned 100 years. Does it go even beyond that? Because some of these older homes are...
When we just recently finished restoring a property in 2010, and they're going to get a award for the restoration of their windows. But their windows have been around 100 years.
Right.
Once you strip them, it could be around another 100 years.
That's unbelievable to think. You mentioned the award. Tell us about the award. It's being presented tomorrow, as we understand.
It's presenting tomorrow by the city of Gatineau for a house called Alexander Taché House.
Okay.
It's on Champlain Street in Hull. Alexander Taché was one of the founding members of Hull, and streets named after him. And this is the house that they lived in. So we were hired to restore not only the windows, but the front porch and the big pinnacle in front of it with a nice design.
And you're being awarded for those different changes that you made.
Actually, the client's being awarded.
The client's getting the award, but you can take pride in the fact that you helped out in this. Yeah. And Paul, we should also mention that you don't just do windows. I mean, you build, design, renovation, so you do a little bit of everything.
Everything, that's correct.
Of course, kitchens and bathrooms are probably your
number
major projects.
one and number two.
Paul, thanks so much for joining us today. Really do appreciate it. And congratulations on the award. I know you're not getting it, but you deserve a little bit of that award as well. Listen, don't go away. Lots more daytime coming up. We're talking yoga, a great fundraising yoga event right after this. Don't go anywhere.